Thank God it's Monday. This is a chance to experience something with God and to grow. Are you guys ready? All right. Last Sunday, we talked about the house of God. The house of God is a concept or an idea that builds throughout the Bible. God is a homemaker. He wants to make home with his people. He has a tabernacle where people could meet him. He lived with them in Jesus. He walked in the garden. All through the Bible, you see God making a home with his people. And the first time the phrase, the house of God, appears, the interesting thing is there's no house. There's no group of people. There's no community. There's no service. It's just an encounter with God. And it's the story of Jacob on the run away from his family to his uncle Laban. Now, the story is that he is running away, and in Genesis 28, verse 10, he finds kind of like on his last breath, completely exhausted, he falls on the floor, lays down on a stone, and takes a deep sleep in the night. Now, God meets him on that stone in a dream where he sees like a staircase that goes up into heaven. And the interesting part about it is, number one, God can meet you anywhere. He can meet you on a stone, and a stone can be the house of God. That means a park bench could be the house of God. That means your business chair could be the house of God. That means when you are making dinner for your family, that is the house of God. That means when you're making the washing, that is the house of God. That means when you're in the tram, that is the house of God. Wherever you are, God can meet you and make a gate from heaven to you and meet you there. Number two, this house is being built by God. The dream is the opposite of the Tower of Babel. It is a staircase that goes from earth to heaven, but it's not humans who've built it. It's God who builds it. There's no dispersion around it. So it's God who's uniting his people under him in the house of God. And the difference to Tower of Babel would also be that since it's not, humans who built it and angels are walking down and up, God is not up there somewhere and we have to reach him. God comes down to Jacob and he says, I will be with you. I will not leave you, and I will get everything that I've promised you accomplished. Amazing. This is the gospel. God has come down to us. God will build the church. That's something that Jesus said later on. I will build my church. I will build the house of God. God is the builder of homes for us. Number three, the reaction of Jacob is the one that we should do. Like, what's the response? It's a response of worship and gratitude. He pours oil on this stone the next morning because he says, this is the house of God and I did not know it. How awesome is this place? By the way, how awesome should church be, right? How awesome should be, but that could be for any place where God meets you. How awesome is it that God can meet you anywhere? Now, oil was the one thing that Jacob had. He did not have a lot of money, probably none, because he was on the run. He did not have anything of value else than oil. And sometimes oil is all you have, and you pour it out on the anointed rock. This points to Jesus ultimately, because Jesus is the cornerstone. He's the anointed one. He's also the stone that the builders rejected. He's the stone in John 1 where it says that angels will descend and ascend from him and the gate of heaven will be opened because of Jesus. So Jesus pointed to this story of Jacob and said, this is about me. I am the stone on which the house of God is being built. So pouring oil on this is worshiping Jesus. We're giving everything you have to him. If you have nothing to give, you maybe have a few drops of oil to give, right? So oil could stand for the protection that Jacob needed, with lighting a fire and making a little bit of clarity in the night through the oil, as being like this combustion for that little lamp that normally people had at that time. Could also be the healing that oil was used for. If you got any scratches, any wounds, you would pour oil to not get infected. And number 3, oil would be to beautify. And so, you would smell nice with oil. So Jacob is basically saying, I don't need all of this. I get beauty, I get glory, I get healing, I get light from the house of God. God is making it for me, and I will worship him for it. All right, as a connect group, if you're gathered tonight, this morning, whenever you're meeting, why don't you take a moment to just discuss when was the last time you've experienced God meeting you? When was the last time? Maybe it was reading the Word. Maybe it was just on a regular commute. Maybe it was on a walk through the forest. Maybe it was in meditation. Maybe it was in church. Wherever it was, share it and just share what happened when God met you. Number 2, this is the oil part. What can you give in response for him meeting you this week? What do you feel that you can give back from this experience? Where can you pour something on the stone? Hope this has blessed you. Bless you guys. Have a wonderful week.